Ping. Ping, ping.
No, I've got to live for my family. I can't be dying for my friends. Because I was willing to die and I was willing to kill for my friends. Somebody was shot at the wake after the funeral.
Okay, no.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I promised my mum, my kids, my family, I wouldn't go back to jail, and we're supposed to hold our emotions in and, you know, be masculine and be this big hard guy. Yeah, I took 27 bullets. I can take on the world, but them bullets don't bother me as much as that.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at.
I got shot 20 odd times, yeah. My friends set me up to get shot. And then she had to do a DNA test like 30 odd years later for him to come back and be allowed in the country.
Wow.
So he lived a totally different life in Africa.
Yeah, totally different life.
This podcast is sponsored by Riddle Holt Builders
And Sinetco Fitness Centre.
Welcome to the Fighting Demons podcast with me, your host, John Edge, my co-host,
Matty Edge.
Today's guest is none other than Manchester's very own Darryl Laycock. Welcome to the show, mate.
Well, welcome. Thanks for welcoming me. It's been a long time coming. This.
I know.
It has been a while.
Time coming.
I know. Don't blame me, la. Don't blame me. Blame our Matty.
Perfectionist, eh?
Yeah, perfectionist.
But yeah, so we're finally here. We've got you on the show. I'd like to hear your story. How it all started for you, Darryl.
How it started. I come from a broken home, from Manchester, my side. Born in Hume, the Bull Rings. A lot of domestic violence growing up. Watching my dad beat on my mum, listening to my dad. He was actually, now that I know, he was used to rape her. Throughout the years, getting in trouble on the streets, getting in trouble in school because of what was going on. I led a pretty colourful life when I was older, but young, I was sexually abused when I was around 8 years old from one of the neighbours. Nothing to do with anybody close or anything like that. And I just went off the rails, seen a child psychologist from 8, 9, and then just grew into the street life, witnessing what was going on at home. I was escaping, how can I say, real life, because that was real life at that time, and was kind of like trying to make a life for myself away from that traumatic scene, but then it just ended up, I was involved in traumatic crime all my life.
Yeah, fucking hell. I'll tell you that. Very scary, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? People see you as like a big, hard sort of gangster, but they don't realise the trauma that you've gone through as a child.
I forgot to say then, when my mum, when she gave birth to me, because it wasn't guaranteed that she was going to have me. After that, she left my dad and got with another man, kind of like for protection, and then he was just as bad. She had a kid a year after me, like 40 months after me, and when he was like 2, his dad abducted him and we didn't find him for 30 years. He was taken, apparently he was taken to Toxa for 5 years, and then taken to Africa. Wow. And one day my mum got a letter from, the police was involved, MPs and everything. She got a letter from the doctors that my brother, her son, had contacted the health authority to find his mum. And then she had to do a DNA test like 30 odd years later for him to come back and be allowed in the country.
Wow.
So he lived a totally different life in Africa.
Yeah, totally different life. When he found out, he didn't come over straight away. When he found us through the health authority, because I was the man, like grafting, it's like he kind of like, to be honest, he was kind of like, obviously he hadn't had fuck all his life. And I sent him some Versace stuff, and then the next minute he was phoning every minute. Versace did, sending messages, can I get this, can I get that? But he didn't, I don't think he realised that I was a grafter. I thought he just thought we was rich. Yeah.
Are you still in contact with him now, or?
Nah, I'm not in contact with him. He's still over here. My mum died in it 9 years ago, and my mum had stopped talking to him because a little falling out. I'm not going to go into it, but to be honest, it's a bad wronging.
Yeah.
It's a bad wronging. I'll tell you off camera later. I don't want to slander him. I would, because it's true, but I'm not in contact with him at all. Every now and then he'll try to phone me or things like that, but I'm one of them people. My mum was my world, so I've got to take her side on everything.
Of course.
if you're my brother and you've done something to my mum or disrespect my mum, and my mum stops talking to you, that's my cue for me to stop talking and having anything to do with you.
Yeah. So how many like sort of siblings have you got then, Darryl?
My mum had 4 kids, and my sister's the oldest sister. She's my sister's white, and she's like the best woman in the world.
I've seen the pictures. I've seen pictures
she's
on
like
social
the best
media.
Woman in the world. When I was in jail all them times, she never let me down on a visit.
Yeah.
Because you know, when we go to jail, we think our boys are going to look after us. Our boys, it's not. It's our mum. It's our sisters. It's our brothers. So I've got an older sister, Anne. I've got that younger brother, the one that went to Africa, Lawrence. He's born in 74, 1st December. I've got a younger brother, Dean. He's born in 76. So he'll be about 48 this next month.
And how you go through these days and times, I can't even remember no one's name.
He's like the little big brother, because he's not a juice head, but he's massive. When he was young, he had a lot of problems with his heart, and he had to have open heart surgery, and it broke his ribs and everything. They said he'd never be able to do weights. You want to see the size of him. He used to be stick thin growing up, and then you want to see the side of him. He's not long come out. He was recalled. He was an IPP prisoner, so he's done a second recall. He got IPP for, they say, kidnapping someone for some money, but to be honest, he took some work, graft, what we know as graft, off someone, and the guy went to police and said he took 12 grand off him, so he got a life sentence for it.
Fucking hell, heavy.
Yeah, so being exposed to them kind of things as a young person, have you just grew up with like an anger inside you?
Yeah. Anger. Yeah, you could say anger,
And then that's manifested into that lifestyle that you've led?
Yeah, I was on the streets, and we all know that. I went on the streets. I was grafting from the age of 13, white and be on the streets, using guns from the age 14, 15, knives, the lot, right up until I got out of jail in 2011, was always actively involved. I was in jail, I was grafting in jail, I was paying screws to bring stuff in. You know, I had a life like no other had in jail.
So that was, so obviously we had Paul on, and he was telling me about you in jail, and he was, because I said, what was Darryl like? And he said he was well connected. He said he was up to all sorts. He said you were well connected inside. Do you know what I mean? And Paul doesn't really say nothing about anyone, so for him to say something like that, do you know what I mean?
Do you know what it is? These kids don't realise.
He said you had a solid firm or something.
We had it nice, because it wasn't. You know what? I'm not glorifying or making jail sound glamorous. But I don't want the viewers. But
yeah, of course.
We had it as not as good as outside, but we had everything we wanted. Do you know? We used to drink vodka, not this homemade shit. We used to drink Smirnoff. Do you know? We didn't get the Ciroc and all that, but do you know what I mean? I think everything happens for a reason, and there's nothing good about jail, because no matter how many drugs you're taking, how many drugs you're selling, how much drink you're drinking, you're still missing your family.
Yeah. You're still away, aren't you?
Yeah, you're still away. That's what people don't realise. There's two commodities. The best things you can have is freedom and health. Health first, and then freedom. And you know what? Since I've been free 13 years now. Because before I was free and all that, before I come out and turn around my life, I was in jail, I was out of jail, in jail, out of jail. And you know, no matter how much money you got, you can have £1 million, but I'd rather have nothing and be free than be in jail with £1 million. You know, when people are going to see your bird and ending up sleeping with your bird and things like that, people seem to forget this is what kind of happens.
Yeah. Because our stories are similar in certain ways, where I've had a lot of things happen to me where I could have lost my life, and I know you've had a lot more. Do you know what I mean? And I say to the kids, when in the boxing, I think I'm here for you. So I think I'm here to tell my story for you, so that like you don't go down that road that I went down. And I think like you're sort of on that sort of journey now yourself, aren't you? Where what's happened to you? Some of the things that have happened to you, like how many times have you been shot?
I got shot, the first time I ever got shot, I got shot underneath my foot, come out the side of my leg, I was running. But you know what's mad? Like about 10 minutes before, I had a machine gun on me, and I put it down for the night, and then
How'd you do?
I was going. My mates used to say, "Yo, your guy was gonna get killed going to a food shop or going to a birds." So I was going to the food shop and then to the birds. I was like 20 meters away from the food shop in a park, and I was riding a bike, and some guy jumped out from behind a tree. So I let the bike go, turned around and started to run. And they just started letting off, and it caught me under my foot and come out the side of my ankle. I got round 2 corners, I couldn't go no more. So that was the first time I got shot. Then I was arrested for being involved in some murder that I wasn't really involved in. I knew about it and I knew what had happened, and the guy was my mate. I wasn't kind of like involved until after the fact of it. Not involved in the murder, I was kind of like involved in a bit of a tit for tat afterwards, after I got shot. So I was arrested. I got out that morning. I went out, got drunk, and was thinking, nah, I'm invincible, me. Because at the time, the guy who got murdered, he was my mate, do you know what I mean? God rest his soul. But I was deemed to be on the other side. So I got out that morning, I went to this pub. My mate, I was drunk, and my mate was like, "That, let me drop you home, let me out." And I was giving it a big, and I'm all right, nobody can't trouble me, do you know what I mean? And then little did I know I was going to get shot 27 times, you know. But on that occasion, I was walking with a girl. And she happened to be shot twice. So because of me, she was shot twice. And then on the third occasion, I was back like about 10 meters from where I first got shot near that food shop. There was a club there now, and I seen my mate, and he was like that. But I thought he was like that, come here. And then he was letting me know that there was people there. And then they just started letting off shots, and one caught me in the leg. And and after that, I was in a club, I got stabbed a few times, 7 times.
Fucking hell.
But all in all, people used to take shots at me all the time, to be honest. Anytime they see me, they would. You know, because I used to be involved. In 1991, I was in a bakery, and my best mate at the time, some guys come in and they killed him in front of me. So after that, I just thought, I didn't really want to live after that. You know, but I survived everything. And
you probably wanted to revenge.
Yeah, definitely. It's tit for tat going on for fucking 30 odd years, and then 2011 I just thought, fuck it. Didn't think, fuck it, something happened to a family member. I just thought, nah, I've got to live for my family. I can't be dying for my friends. Because I was willing to die, and I was willing to kill for my friends. Do you know, I'd been on charges. Obviously, when you're a gang member or a gangster or a G, like these kids seem to think, it's all good, but it's not. But it's like every day you get home to your bed at night, you've made it through a day. It's just an occupational hazard whether you live or die. Do you know, it's like I went to jail, was arrested for some murders. Because you get a reputation, you get arrested for loads of stuff. And when it was a murder, I used to always get arrested 2 days in the cells and then released without charge. And the first serious charge I had, I was arrested for conspiracy to murder, 2 attempted murders. Someone rode on some kids on the opposite estate with a machine gun. It was nothing to do with me, but because of that reputation, and the witnesses said it was me, they said the person who was doing the shooting was limping at the time, and it was round about the time that I'd been shot in my foot. So it kind of like coincides, but they said I was slim and that, even though they said it was my name, but I've never been slim. So, you know, it's like the conspiracy to murder. I was charged with that, with the same, on that conspiracy to murder, 2 attempted murders, possession of ammunition. So the conspiracy to murder is where this guy got his car took off him, got shot at, and his car taken off him, and apparently my fingerprints was found in the car. Or that's what the police said, and then when it come to court, it wasn't my fingerprints, but I was charged with conspiracy to murder him, and it was what it was. It is what it is, and do you know, it's all in the past. You know what? I can't lie, and I can't glamorize stuff, but that's what you sign up for when you go on the streets. You sign up for that. Because every day you get away with a crime. You don't go to the police and say, I got away with that, so lock me up for that. So you can't complain when you get charged.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
In 1999, I was charged with a well-known murder. And I was arrested for 2 murders, and I have the paperwork still charged with 1 murder and maybe charged later with another murder. It was nothing to do with me, but because of the reputation I've built up, you're going to get... These kids don't realise nowadays you might want to be big and bad now, but it sticks with you, that reputation. And
yeah, of course,
the police never let it go. It's like...
You're always affiliated with it.
Yeah, I've been out of crime now since I come out of jail, 2011. And the way I was, how hectic I was, something might get found now, like 20 odd years later or whatever, and I could still be charged. Kids don't think that nothing ever goes away.
Yeah.
Do you know, my DNA might be found on something, or someone might make a statement of a past crime, but I just live in hope that I'm doing good now, so good will come back my way.
So you see, like, the life that you've had a lot of trauma as a kid, and then, you know, growing up, all the stuff you've been in jail, and then all the things that have happened to you in jail, and then your family outside the jail, coming out of jail. What was that like? Like, sort of like your life when you got out of jail, all that stuff that you've had?
It was mad. It was mad because the last time I got out of jail, I wasn't allowed in Manchester. The government said I was the most dangerous person in the northwest of England, which I was later to find out. So I had loads of conditions. I wasn't allowed to see my kids because there was a risk on my life. So indirectly, there was a risk on their life. I wasn't allowed in Manchester. I had to live in Egbiff, St. Michael's, that Southwood. I was there for like 8 months, and that's unheard of to be in a hostel. So I had to live in Liverpool for 2.5 years. But do you know what? It's most of the best thing to ever happen to me. I don't know, you know, Hunts Cross. Best thing to ever happen to me at Hunts Cross McDonald's. I was nicked with 500 bullets in 2008, and that's when I was released in 2011, and that's when I was given the moniker the most dangerous person in the northwest of England. You know, I used to say to people, don't deal with this person, he might be under observation, don't deal with that person. And I was dealing with someone who was under observation. I'm warning everybody, and I'm dealing with somebody.
Forgetting about yourself.
You know what it is? The conspiracy, when they see me come from Manchester, they shut down the investigation and thought, we need to take him out now and take the rest of them out. So I got nicked with 500 bullets, and that's like the best thing to ever happen to me, because it's on that sentence where I started to realise the wrongs that I was doing. Because the bullets, if I would have got back to Manchester, it don't take a rocket scientist to know. Someone would have been killed. I may not have killed him, but 500 bullets on the streets on my side, Manchester, someone's going to catch a stray bullet, even if it wasn't an intended victim.
So then, on your release, what have you done since then when you got out of jail?
What have I done? I used to work with an organisation called Cells. But, you know, probation, let me just let this, I was MAPA 3 Tier 4. So the highest probation, I had to go probation every day of the week. 5 days a week, and then I was in a hostel all the way right up until I finished probation. And it was only working with Cells that I used to get out of probation now and then, because of that. Cells had a meeting with the police to see if I was allowed back in Manchester. So I was allowed back in Manchester twice, you know, to go to schools with Cells. So other than that, the only other time I went to Manchester, my mum had a heart attack, and I got permission through legal process. I got permission to go to the hospital to visit her. But police had to meet me at the train station, escort me to the police, to the hospital, and then take me back. But it wasn't good in it because my mum was there, and it's kind of like embarrassing for my mum. But then, since I've come out, I've worked with over 300,000 kids. I've been to Buckingham Palace, invited to there.
What was all that like, going to Buckingham Palace?
It's mad, yo. It's freezing in Buckingham Palace. It's freezing. So I went there now. It was after a programme I was involved with called Gun Number 6.
I've seen that.
And I was invited, and I was there with Charles, and it was freezing, you know. I just said, yo, Charles, what's happening, man? It's cold in here, I swear to God. Tiny Temper's sat there, Charles is sat there, Tiny Temper's there, Charles is there, Harry's there. And I said, yo, Charles, man, it's cold in here. What's happening? You got no eating. I swear, there's fans and everything. It was freezing. He went like that. Oh, Darryl, he was like that. Darryl, it was like, it's like when I went to boarding school in Scotland, it was dead cold, so I've always liked the cold. I went, that was like 7 years ago, Charlie. And he burst out laughing, you know what I mean? I thought, oh my God, because I'm like the class clown. That's why I didn't finish in school.
Yeah.
Do you know, because I was a class clown.
Yeah,
I didn't want to listen. Didn't want to listen to the teachers. I wanted to be the man. You know, I used to fill up condoms with milk, throw them at Spanish teachers, you know. And then now it comes about that I have ADHD, so...
Yeah. I'm going for the test board on Wednesday. I'm going for the test,
but since I come out of jail, I've done that, worked with kids in schools, youth clubs. I've given lectures in unis. I've done loads of TV work with the BBC. I do a lot of podcasts, and I just try to help kids not go down the road.
Yeah, of course. That's why we wanted you on. You've lived a very traumatic, dangerous life, and I know you've completely changed and rehabilitated yourself. And what you're doing now to help kids is boss. So
it's like some guys. I'm not naming any names or anything, but these guys that do the job, they can't do the job that I do. Let's get that straight. Yeah. But these guys that kind of like do what I do, but they still got the fingers in dirty pies, and I can't do that. I'd rather go broke or say phone you or phone someone and say, can you help me out, do you know, rather than do, because I do this for a purpose, do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Whereas a lot of people are hypocrites.
Yeah. I found that along through all the journey. There's a lot of people that do that. Do you know what I mean? They say one thing, but they still do it.
Yeah, I don't hold nothing against anybody, but
of course.
Don't tell a kid not to do it if you're doing it yourself.
You're still doing it, yeah.
Do you know? So I work with kids. My mental health ain't been the best recently.
Well, this is another thing I was going to talk to you about, because all the crime that you've done, the violent life, going to jail and then coming out, a lot of people suffer with mental health, PTSD,
anxiety,
all that type of stuff. And that's what I wanted to try and get out to people, because I know.
Yeah, anybody who goes to jail, no matter, you could be the hardest guy in the world or anything, you will have PTSD at some point. I have serious PTSD. I have depression, I have mental health, and I suffer a lot with, since losing my mum, grief.
Yeah.
It's like, PTSD is bad. It's really bad. The flashbacks, the screams, the night terrors. That's when I get to sleep. But grief, there's nothing like grief. When I lost my mum, it's like my world ended. I didn't want to carry on, do you know?
Yeah.
My mum went to hospital with my mum. They give her 3 months to live. She lived 15 months. Then at the funeral, somebody was shot at the wake after the funeral.
Okay, no.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I promised my mum, my kids, my family, I wouldn't go back to jail. And it's like, people expect me to do something after someone was shot at my mum's funeral, but I didn't do nothing. And you know what? Karma's real. I'm not going to go into it, because then it kind of like highlight them people, but them people are irrelevant. They can't say nothing to me. They can't talk to me. They need to avoid being in contact with me. Not that I'm going to do anything, because if I was going to do anything, I would have done it then, but it's disrespectful going to someone's mum's funeral armed, somebody who you might be related to, do you know? So I do work with schools. I just try and help. I go on the streets with my dogs, collect knives. In the last 2 weeks, last couple of weeks, I've collected a few knives and an axe. Do you know? Kids know that they can give me stuff. Do you know what I mean? And it won't get back to them where it's come from. And that's all I want. I just want kids to be able to be kids and kind of like play. When we was younger, even though I got involved in stuff early, there was loads of youth clubs. Yeah. Now there's no youth clubs, there's no place. You've got amazing thing here and at Wood where you open it up for the kids. The kids might have nothing, but they've got community because they come and talk and they get along. They might not like each other, but you get them in a ring and they have a little spar and it gets sorted out.
Wood lost that. Wood, for a long time, it never had a boxing club. And when we opened it up, me and Sarah, it brought it back in, because they were having a lot of stuff like kids getting robbed on the bikes. There was a lot of kids just feral, you know, like they were getting up to no good, and we took them off the streets and got them back in. So with the gym, and then we opened this one as well, so we've got 2 now, and it hasn't half done loads because the only gym that they had around this area was Gemini and Speak. They never had no other boxing club. It's where when you go to talk stuff in town, they've got like, you know, you got the Golden Gloves, you got, and they're all within like walking distance of each other. But round here, in like the proper South End, there was nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what we need. You know what, we always find money for a murder trial, which is about £6 million now. We always find money to keep a kid in jail for 25 years. Why can't we invest that money in communities and build youth clubs?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because crime is a business.
Yeah.
People seem to forget. When you go to jail, everyone will know that when I went to jail, I wouldn't do anything that benefited a screw or the governor or no company, because I was insubordinate. So I'd do what I want. I'd educate myself, or I'd be on a survey where it helped other prisoners. But these kids don't realise when they go to jail, they're doing what they're told.
Yeah.
They're working in a workshop. They're making sofas for these big organisations, DFS, SCS. Yeah, they're slave labour.
Yeah.
Do you know? And the government don't seem to want to stop that happening. The government don't want to invest into communities. They just rather invest into prisons and prison places.
Yeah. We're not trying to deter the kids in the first place, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, keep them off the streets, try and get them something.
Kids don't realise that when you go to jail or when you carry a knife and you hurt someone, that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. You're going to have flashbacks, you're going to have PTSD, you're going to have trauma.
Big things about getting the likes of you on and Paul and stuff like that, people who've got reputations as being hard fellas, because with the likes of yourself opening up and telling us about this, you know, the mental health, the PTSD, it sort of stops people from going down that road. And if we can stop one person from going down that road, then it's a job well done, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what it is? You know what it is as men? We're supposed to hold our emotions in and, you know, be masculine and be this big hard guy. Yeah, I took 27 bullets. I can take on the world, but them bullets don't bother me as much as that.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah.
I talk about it, and you know I talk about it because I want to help others, and it helps me to
deal
help
with
others and to deal with it. And when I talk about it, people might feel inspired to go and see a doctor or see a mentor or go to a gym and speak to somebody. So I break down a lot. I'm very emotional all the time. I'm very low all the time. I've just come out of a low patch myself, do you know what I mean? And I'm not going to lie, I have suicidal thoughts all the time. I've not acted on it for a while, but I have took a few overdoses in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I'm shit at it, because obviously I'm still here.
You're here for the purpose.
I'm here for a purpose.
This is what I was saying. The life that we've all led, I swear, I say to these kids, God's put me here for the purpose. I should not be here. The things I've done, the things I've been involved in, and I've done most of it myself. You know, things I'm being stupid, just fucking, you know, ass and that. Yeah, I've had a lot of bad accidents, but I know me, and I think I'm here for you. I'm 45 years of age. You know, I never got what I could have got out of my career because of what I was getting up to, all the crime, drugs, fucking getting up to no good. And I just think I'm here for these kids. I must be, do you know what I mean? And I think the same with yourself. I think all the stuff you've been through, you're here for a purpose. You're here to guide kids away from that life.
Like when I got back to Manchester, it's like the police and the crime commissioner funded me for so long, and then, you know, it was more like, because they could kind of like raise their public profile off the back of me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then they fucked off with the funding, and I'd never done anything for money. Do you know what I mean? I put people before profit. And it's like when I was back in Manchester, the twins, they kind of helped me to get out there.
Yeah.
Do you know, base security. I'm not saying this as an advertisement. They kind of helped me get into schools, and because schools always complain they got no money. So I was speaking to these and saying, if I can get in here, would you cover my expenses and all that? And they've always done that. Do you know what I mean? But the police and all that don't want to invest in preventative measures no more. It's all about enforcement, because they make money when kids go to court, make money when kids go to prison.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what is it? It's like enterprise for them. Do you know, they're like churning out fucking sofas, churning out pallets, because a lot of pallets are made in jail, churning out TVs, sofas. you could go on the assemble things for B&Q at Argos, and so if you don't want to work outside for £300 a week, you go into jail and work £6 a week, £300 a year.
Yeah.
I was working with a kid in school, and the school said, you can't work with him no more. Work with the good ones. Oof. Yeah. And then I was working in the prison. I'm working with the same guy. Do you know what I mean? I sat him down one day. I went, you know what? Will you work for £300 a week outside? He went, nah. I can't do it, Darryl. I went, how much are you paid in here? He said, I'm paid £6 a week. This is young offenders, Weatherby. And he said, I'm paid £6 a week. So I says, so you work for £312 a year, 52 weeks in a year. And out of that, it goes back down to £260 because you're paying £52 a year for your TV, but you won't work for £300. And now the guy's thriving outside.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But these kids don't realise if you don't work out here, you're going to work in jail because you're not going to come out your cell any other way. And a lot of these kids that I work with or I talk to, they think it's all right to stab someone in the leg and there won't be no comeback. But he might go to jail. That guy might not come back to you. You're going to land on a wing with a load of his friends.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? The reality is you're going to get stabbed. You might get hot water or hot oil thrown on you. You might even get sexually abused and filmed to put on Snapchat to take your masculinity away from you. Yeah. Kids don't believe this. I'm getting videos all the time sent to me about things. These things are happening in prison.
Fucking hell, mate.
Because there's a lot of money outside, and to belittle you and degrade you, people outside will offer someone inside money to do them kind of things to you. Yeah. And money is king, innit?
Yeah.
So like a lot of these kids, they need a place to be expressive. So without like that community bond, because a lot of people within a community, it doesn't feel like a community anymore. So you're going into these kind of areas of street crime and whatever, and how do you conform that and how do you challenge like that when the community is off gone?
Do you know what? Our community is gone. What it is, you need more community elders and leaders to get people together, because they're still there. They're just like not active,
not connected.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like a lot of these communities things, a lot of it's about ego. Do you know, I don't want to be listening to him because I've been this person, I don't want to be in it. The more time people collaborate, we're going to make a bigger impact. Do you know what I mean? A lot of these communities, takes for me to go in, or someone like me to go in and say, this is wrong, to call out the elders and say, now you're fucking out of order, because you could stop this. Because I go to places and I'm like that. Do you know what I mean? I can't hold back. Yeah. Even though I'm on a positive, I can't hold back, because if it wasn't for people like us, none of these kids would have grown into these demonic individuals. I don't believe there's any such thing as a bad kid. I always believe that we've all done bad, we all make bad choices, but we always harp on about the bad what kids have done. So the communities need to come together and say, enough is enough. Do you know when communities start getting involved? When someone they know's been stabbed, or their son's been stabbed, and say their kid was innocent, and I don't care. My mum would never say, go on TV, if I got killed, Darryl was innocent. She'll say, he was involved in such and such, and he didn't need to die for it. Do you know what I mean? But we get these people that they set up organisations after the fact, but why not before the fact? We always say rest in peace. Why don't we say live in peace? When our brothers and sisters, our kids and all that go to jail, why are we saying free my G? Why weren't we celebrating our kids that go to university and getting jobs? Because I'd never say free my G, because if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Free my G, 300s and all that. But when your G's in jail, he's getting terrored. Everyone says, oh yeah, I'm running things this, I'm running things that. Do you know, they send the messages to the thing. 99% of them are crying themselves to sleep and got a pot to piss in, eating prison cereal, drinking prison milk, got no money on the canteen, can't even phone home. Yet they're going like the heavyweight outside. You know yourself, there's no money on the streets no more. Everything's, it's cash no more. Cash ain't money no more. You have to have a business. You have to do a little hustle, like maybe trainer cleaners, cell trainers, or things like that. The roads are dead. All the roads are full of is blood, sorrow, PTSD, depression, snakes, you know, people that'll set you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a stamping ground, isn't it? Like people standing on each other to get on top.
Yeah, people. There's no loyalty on them streets.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
There's no loyalty. When I got shot 20 odd times, yeah, my friends set me up to get shot. You told the shooters where I was. People say to me, who is it? Who is it? It doesn't matter who it is. Because he knows he done wrong. And he told me that he done it. So I had to respect him for that. And I don't hold no malice against him. Do you know what I mean? I've not seen him since I've told people that I've been. But we're cool. If I see him, I see him. If we don't, you know. We're still all right. Do you know what I mean? He done me wrong and I survived, so I was meant to be here.
Yeah,
and he was meant to do it. I can't complain about it because the dynamics of life, he was meant to do that for me to survive and to thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I seen on your story about doing stuff with boxers on the walkout and that. What was that all about?
You know what? My message about knife crime, it needs to get bigger, you know. And I do things, I go and talk on things, you know. A lot of people will mind the P's and Q's and dot all the I's and all that, but I don't care about you being famous or you having this money or you being involved in crime. I'm all about telling our kids they don't need to get in crime, because if you can work a graph phone, you're an entrepreneur, you can work in telesales. Do you know? So the boxing thing I put on it is I put some boxer needs me to walk them out, maybe on a boxer show, maybe on a DAZN show, or maybe just on a TV show. Because if I get the crowd thinking about knife crime,
Of course.
it might not affect everyone, but someone's going to say, well, he's right. My kid's going down this road. My kid's going down that road. And things like that. It might change things. It might not, but...
Well, that's how I met you, wasn't it? That's how I met you
Exactly.
at the boxing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then through Tasha, and then I said, who's that? And she told me your story, and then I went, no way.
Yeah.
And then I was on you then.
Yeah.
And then I knew, because like obviously I remember all that Gunchester and all that, and I was like, and then when you, and I was like, oh no, and then
That Gunchester, when that Gunchester was named, I was like one of the instigators.
Because that's what she told me.
It's like
and I was like, no way, I remember all that.
It's like I can't really do anything without kind of like incriminating myself, but it's alleged I was the first man to shoot up a nightclub in Manchester City Centre. And that's not me glorifying, that's people alleging that, and it's kind of like true, but I can't say it's true. but I'm not saying it because I want to be boisterous, blasé and show off and all that.
Yeah.
But when you're young and your mate's been killed in front of you, you lose your mind.
Yeah, of course.
So you do things, you know what, when I went and done that at the shootout in a club, yeah, I didn't care whether I lived or died. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
These kids nowadays don't care whether they live or die, but really and truly, you live every day your life. So you wake up, you have multiple lives, but really have one main life. But if you die once and you never come back.
Yeah.
There's no way, there's no two ways about it. If you hang around on the streets, you get involved in knife crime, you get involved in drugs and all that, you're gonna meet your maker at some point. You might not get killed, you might get a life sentence, you might get out of it. But I'm gonna tell you this now, you're gonna have mental health problems for the rest of your life. And there's no escaping this. You can escape prison, you can escape your enemies. There's no escaping what you've done and what you've been involved in and what you're thinking and what you're feeling. This is the most powerful thing ever, and overthinking will cause you to do things that you shouldn't be doing.
So although you've had like suicidal thoughts at times and you have these mental challenges and everyone's got a constant struggle, yours is obviously more horrific than most, but how do you tell yourself mentally to get through each day?
Can I just pull you up? You say mine's more horrific than most. Is it though? Because we don't know, as men, we don't know what other people have gone through. Do you know what I mean? We don't know. So I always say, at the time, it feels like I'm going through the worst. Because I have to dig myself out of that dark hole. People say, think of your kids, think of your grandson and all that. But when you're in that dark hole, you just got to think how you're going to get out. Saying think of your kids and all that, I think that's a bit insultive. You need to think about yourself and
Yeah,
how
of
you're
course.
going to get out of that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I started therapy a few months ago. I've not done it for the last few weeks because my therapist has been ill, and it's like when I was doing it, I was thinking, it's not helping me this. And then when I've not done it for the last few weeks, I've realised that I need it. I need it.
Yeah.
You know, I've struggled, but everyone finds their own coping mechanisms. People need to check in more, and they know that their friends or family have been through. Checking on them, because you don't want to get that phone call to say he done himself in or she done himself in because they thought they couldn't talk to you.
Yeah, they
Because
thought they had no one there.
a lot of people who don't suffer from mental health laugh and joke about it because they've never struggled it.
Yeah.
And they've never, but it's too late when your friends decided you've been laughing at him and he takes his life or she takes her life. So people need to find their own coping mechanisms. I keep busy, you know, mine is, you know what, I go on about people and Instagram and all that, but Instagram is my life. I'm
It's like
not
your
gonna
diary.
lie. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, but I post, you know me, I'm random as fuck. I post what I want. People post that they're living this flash life, this life and all that. I'm honest, I don't live a flash life. I live in a house, I have 4 bedrooms, I have 2 dogs, I have a van, I have a car. I got no insurance on my van. You know, I'm on weekly insurance on my car at the moment because I was on a fleet policy, and then someone kind of like said the business closed down, so my van and my car. Do you know what I mean? So I have these kind of like problems. I don't go on like I'm a millionaire or things like that. Like I get help off other people. Do you know what I mean? It's not all about living this lifestyle. Everyone seems to think that, oh, we got to post this and post that. I post about mental health. I post about snakes. I post about nonsense. I post about ex-professional boxers being wrong-uns and things like that. I can't lie, I have to be honest. So my coping mechanism, not talking shit about other people, but a lot of it's Instagram.
Yeah.
Do you know, a lot of it's speaking to Tasha.
Yeah.
Tasha's always checking in, you checking on me. Do you know what I mean? Aunt Middleton checks in on me, the twins checking on me, base security checking on me, because they all know that I suffer up here.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's not a laughing matter. We might laugh now and things like that, but when you're at home and you're on your own and you're thinking, it's powerful. You can't escape your mind. You can escape the streets. You can escape your ops. You can escape prison. You can't. This is a prison inside on its own.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people like use Instagram for is like I've got a mate who's like he stopped taking drink and drugs and he does videos every day. Do you know what I mean? But he said to me, that's my therapy. When I'm on my walks and I do my little talks and that, he said, it helps me. He said, people give me shit and tell me what I'm doing. He said, I'm not asked, but it helps me. He said, and that's all I'm asked about. Do you know what I mean? So he said, people can take the piss all he wants, because he was never on social media, my mate. He'd never done all the Facebook and MySpace and all that. He's just come on now. He's took drugs all his life. He's been off them now about 9 months. But he's on here every day. Every day he does a walk. Positive Peter again, you know what I mean? And he does his little videos.
I know what you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
And he's cool as fuck. But like, he just does his own thing. He's not asked what anyone else thinks. It helps him. He says, John, it helps me. But don't do me videos. Like, I don't feel like me. And that's his thing.
But no, not everybody's like that. A lot of people are asked what they look like, how they portray and all that, and that's wrong.
No, of
Everyone
course.
goes on like the fucking millionaire. We know that you're on benefits, Claire. We know you're on benefits, Claire. You might have Versace, Louis Vuitton and all that, but we know you're on benefits. There's nothing wrong with being on benefits, but don't lie about the life you live when we all know. We see the state of your garden, we see the state of your house, we see the state of your, when you're not on social media, when the makeup's not there, when you're not catfishing people. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that about women, but guys are like that as well. Guys go on I got this brand new S3 and all that. It's a mobile car. It's a mobile car. You know, it's a rental. It's a car and HP. But you know what I like to tell these kids? If you got £1,000 legal money, it's better than 10 grand dirty money. Because you can get finance, you can get mortgages and things like that. If you work in McDonald's or a low-paid job like that for 20 years, you're going to be better off than being on the road for 20 years. Because the occupational hazards of being on the road, you're going to get robbed, you're going to lose parcels, you're going to owe bigger people money, you're going to get most probably stabbed, shot, you're going to have rivals and all that. But if you go to work in McDonald's, you're not looking over your shoulder. You got a mortgage, you might make it up to the management, you're on 50 grand a year. You tell me now, which man, we all know guys, yeah, but which man would rather be in jail, being a millionaire, or being on road, being on benefits?
Yeah.
Because I know I'd be on road and benefits.
Yeah.
Do you know, as long as you're with your family, do you know? Because everyone who goes to jail, they miss their family.
Yeah, of course, that's it, isn't it?
It's the reality. Do you know, when I was in jail, I was having an affair with a teacher, but I'm not going to go into that today. We'll do that on another thing. But these guys don't realise that when I was doing what I was doing, I had things different. But nowadays, these kids, man, they think jail's easy, this, jail's easy. Even when I was having an affair and I was paying schools to bring me drugs in and things like that, I might have been making money or been making ends meet, but I wasn't happy because my family was outside.
Yeah.
My mum could only sleep when I was in prison because she'd get a knock on the door. Darryl's been arrested for murder. Darryl's been shot, he might die. Darryl's been stabbed, he might die. Do you know what I mean? The only time my mum could sleep was when I was in jail. You know, my mum, it took my mum till I was 38 to tell me that she was proud of me. You know, when I come out in 2011, and then the day my mum died, the 3rd of March, 11 minutes past 7, 2015, the same day, I'd promised that I'd go and do a talk at Thingy. I didn't know that she was going to die that day. I promised this youth club I'd go and do a talk. And you know what? When my mum died, I was walking around the street with my belly hanging out. I was walking around with just my pants, barefoot. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I went back and they'd come and take my mum away and things like that. And I went to the youth club that I promised I'd go to. I don't know how I'd done it, but I did. And then I went to the youth club, and I used to see this kid at the youth club. And a few years ago, I knew this guy was special, you know. I knew that he could be anything he wanted to be, but he went and he wasn't the baddest of kids, but he was misled. I believe he was misled, and then innocently he was at a party one night on the streets. He was there the day that my mum died, and then one night a few years ago on a street party he was killed. Two people was killed. Do you know what I mean? But I can just be myself to try and prevent these things happening.
Yeah.
Because people say prevention is better than cure, but there is no cure. If any of our kids was killed, will we ever be cured?
That's it. No.
We'll know. So I say
life sentence, isn't it?
So I say prevention is better than court, because everything ends up in court.
Fucking hell. Sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is life. We go through things. You have to go through it to grow through it, you know.
Yeah.
If you know that if you're going to carry on doing that crime or doing that thing, you're going to go to jail for a long time, or you're going to end up in a wooden box. Do you know, a lot of people ain't got mortgages, but they've got a place in a wooden box.
Yeah.
And that's a lifetime thing, do you know? Whereas you might get a mortgage and be in debt for 25 years, but then you own it. At the end of it, what you're going to end up owning, carrying on the streets, the box that you live in. And it's not even a box outside or in a prison, it's a wooden box. Do you know, you're going to get eaten by the worms, all because you chose to go in the streets, all because you chose to rep your ends. Do you know, a lot of these kids are getting involved in beefs and wars and territory mishaps and disturbances and breakups for friendship, for reasons that are unknown to them, but they're willing to say, yeah, John, I've got your back. But they don't know that you was smashing someone's bird. Do you know, they just think that someone was on your case and they've got to back you. But people are willing to die and they're not even getting none of the bird.
Yeah.
But the only bird they're going to get is the bird when they go to jail.
Yeah.
Life sentence is 99 years. A lot of kids don't realise that. However, you get a tariff, you might get 25 years and you might not come out after 25 years.
Yeah.
You're on a life licence for the rest of your life. Even Paul's IPP.
Yeah, it's fucking sad, isn't it? That's what I mean. When I talked to Paul about his one, I was like, fucking hell, mate. Imagine not going to jail, but like, not knowing if you're ever going to get out. Like, that the stress that you're under there. It's horrible, that.
And these kids that go to jail, they're willing to kill and die for the mates. But the mates won't send them a postal order or go and see the mum or go and see the kids. But when you come out, they're kind of like, yeah, were boys who buy you a pair of trainers and then get you back involved. I was the same. Do you know what I mean? I was the same. But it is what it is, and I've managed to turn it around, you know?
Yeah.
I'm respected in that. Whereas was feared on the streets and respected by some, but hated by most because I used to be a madman. Now I'm respected in the right circles, you know, like school teachers, school governors, you know, prison officers, police officers, ex-police officers respect me now and call me when there's work to be done.
Well, that's where we want to go with it, isn't it? We want to go down that. Just, you know, I remember growing up myself, everyone, you know, you want to be the hardest, the most feared, and now it's like you say, you start to be respected.
Yeah, when you're hard and you're most feared and you're at war with people, you're not making money.
No, that's it, yeah.
It's the people that go under the radar that are making the money, so you kids don't fucking follow the roads because the streets don't love you.
Yeah, that's the one, isn't it?
With reflecting back on what you were mentioning before, going into crime initially through the experiences that you had as a child, was that like you kind of find an escape? Yeah. Was you like in a home where you didn't possibly feel love?
Yeah, definitely. You know what? I felt loved. I felt loved because my mum always loved me. But when my dad had a drink, he was just horrible, man. When he hadn't had a drink, he was the nicest man ever. Do you know what I mean? And it was, that it was to escape the reality of what was happening at home. It's like when my mum was on her deathbed, I found some notes that she'd been keeping. It's that it was then I realised she said that I was conceived through rape. Do you know what I mean? I would have never, if my mum wasn't dying, I would have never read her notes. I respected that, but because she was dying, I read it, and then it just wasn't good. It sent me head west when I read it. I kind of like went missing for a bit. Even though she was dying, I didn't know how to deal with it. But I come back and I sorted out. I looked after my mum most of the time while she was dying. But yeah, it was to escape what was happening at home. And do you know, when I was young, I was on Dodge Woodall a few months ago, and not really spoke about it. I used to see my mum get battered. The first person I ever see get stabbed was my dad. My mum stabbed him 3 times in his chest, shoulder and arm. And after that, he knew not to put his arm on her. But when I was young, I could hear it. I could hear him raping her, and people think I might be chatting shit or anything. But I've been beaten. I've seen my mum beaten, and the screams that she screamed when she was beaten is different from the screams when my dad was locking her in rooms and doing things to her. Trust me, it's not nice. And I don't want my kids to think, oh, my granddad was this and all that, but your granddad was that.
Yeah.
And it's like my brothers and sisters, like from my dad's other kids, they need to know the truth. You know, I'm not gonna, just because it's my dad, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. A lot of people won't say it because it's their dad, but I've got to be honest. He was hell. He put my mum through hell. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mum's at peace now, do you know, because she knows that I've spoke about it and she knows that I know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like when I found the notes and then I went back and I said to her, why didn't you tell me, Mum? She didn't have no answer. She said I had to write it down. Do you know, she didn't have she couldn't tell me. Obviously she was
It's a way of protecting you as well.
Yeah, she was concentrating. She's concentrating on surviving it. But you know what? My brothers and my sister, they used to say, you're the golden child, you're the favourite, No matter what I'd done, I was my mum blue-eyed boys, and now we know because it was because of that.
Yeah.
It was because of that scenario.
Yeah.
Oh, it's tragic, that.
Family's everything, really, isn't it? You can't choose it, but like, you know, people sometimes lose focus, don't they? And they kind of prioritise other things. But when you bring yourself back down to earth, it's the most important thing, the most simple things of
family, health and freedom.
Yeah.
But we all have family. It's like that. My dad was like that, and I can honestly say he was only like that when under the influence of alcohol. Because when he wasn't, he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Do you know? He died before my mum. Before I knew about this note and all that, he died. Do you know what I mean? So if I would have known beforehand, he wouldn't have got a funeral. He wouldn't have got a funeral. I would, even though I'd promised I'd never go back to jail, I would have gone and I would have harmed him because he put my mum through that.
Yeah.
And I was conceived through this, and after finding that note, the guilt that I felt, what my mum had to go through in order to bring me into this world, Do you know? But a lot of people don't go through that. A lot of people don't know about that, but it happens to anybody. So I tell people, if they know the mum's getting beat up, call the police.
Yeah, of course.
You're not aggressive, you call the police. This man might the dad or your mum's boyfriend might kill your mum. If it carries on, it only takes one punch to kill somebody. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to speak up, even if you don't want to phone the police. Speak to your teachers, speak to your gym instructors, because they'll go about it safeguarding. We've all done safeguarding. We'll go about it, we'll get the help that you need. Don't be in a house where your dad's beating up your mum, and the same way where your mum's beating up your dad. Do you know? Because it goes both ways.
Listen, I was going to say that because my mum was my mum's an alcoholic, and like when my ma hasn't had a drink, she's fucking lovely. When my ma has a drink, like, get up the fucking way, mate. You know what I mean? She's fucking. So I've been through years of not speaking to my mum.
My mum was a functioning alcoholic.
You know what I mean? So it's you know where I'm coming from then, innit? Do you know what I mean? So it's like with my ma, you never knew what you were getting. Fucking, you could walk in and you'd have fucking murder. And you could go in one day and it'd be fucking cooking clean, and you think, fucking hell. You just never knew what you were going in with in the house, you know what I mean? So like, I know what it's like growing up like that, you know what I mean? Especially with alcohol, it's fucking horrible.
Alcohol is worse than drugs. Yeah. I'm not promoting drugs because I'm not into that, but alcohol brings out violence, with your drugs bring out love.
I think like with alcohol as well, I think because it's so easy to get everywhere, every shop sells it, you know what I mean? So
and
it's so easy.
The government get paid off it, don't they?
Yeah, so I think, and my family suffered with alcohol, you know what I mean? The fucking Irish, innit? But my uncle died at 52, and then my mum now, I mean, my mum's 72 now, and my mum's dying now, you know what I mean? But she hasn't drank for a few years now, do you know what I mean? So.
But it's a bit late, innit?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, because I got a phone call in 2016 saying your mum's in hospital dying, and I went in and seen her. She couldn't even speak, and she was went. I said, if you stop drinking, I'll be back in your life. And since then, I've been back in her life. Do you know what I mean? And she hasn't drunk to my knowledge. She hasn't drunk. Because my mum was always like, even when I left home, she'd phone up and give me shit on the phone, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what she was known for. She'd get on the phone, she'd cause fucking murder, and if you were around her, mate, she was proper. Drink just brought out the bad side, innit? Without it, fucking hell, mate, she's boss, you know what I mean? But when she had a bevy, fucking hell, she could cause fucking murder.
It's not good, man. Alcohol kills.
And she'd drink loads as well, my mum. She'd drink like 2 bottles of vodka, do you know what I mean? Easy.
Yeah.
So, like, she was a big drinker. My mum was like a binge drinker, do you know what I mean? Like, you go in, we wouldn't drink, and then 1 minute you go in, fucking hell, be fucking murder, mate. You know what I mean? So, you never knew what you were going to get with me, man, which was scary. Do you know what I mean? So I'd do the same, I wouldn't go home. I'd stay out with mates, you know what I mean? That's why I was on the street, robbing cars when I was 11. I was always getting up to that because I just didn't want to be in the house, like, do you know what I mean? Because you never knew what you were fucking getting.
It was reality, innit? Going back to reality, innit? Yeah. So it's like a fantasy, innit? Living on the street, going around with your mates, you're creating a life that you want to live.
Yeah.
Even though it's not the safest of life, it's better than going back home and seeing your dad beat your mum up or see your mum with black eyes, bruises and things like that.
Yeah,
I think,
definitely.
I think the crazy thing is that, like, you can come from, you know, a place of turmoil at home and then find this escape outside, but sometimes you have people with the best of everything and who are silver spoon fed, and they want the street life because they're like, I want to be one of the boys, and it's like, you've got a perfect home at home.
Yeah, but you know what? Have they got a perfect home?
Yeah, but that's
from the outside in. From the outside in, they might have all the money, the best trainers, the Balenciagas and all that. But have they?
Yeah, behind closed doors, you don't know what's going on.
We don't know. We always look at them and think, why are you doing this? Because of the masculinity thing, they don't want to be open up. They might be going through sexual abuse. Their mum might be going through such and such. Your dad might be battering their mum. You might not ever see their mum. And you wonder why. What, she got black eyes? But knowing what I've known and gone through, that's how I'd think now. But back then I wouldn't. I just think a lot of my friends was going through the same thing, dad beating up their mum and all that. Do you know what I mean? But like you said, they might be silver spoon fed and all that. But we're looking in, we think that, but
we don't. Reality,
nobody
you don't know.
knows what's going on behind closed doors. Like you might have been going through things that your mates wasn't going through. They might have been going through that you were. And because of this masculinity, I don't want to look like I'm soft or anything, you wouldn't speak about it. So I kind of like encourage people to speak up and speak out. Because if you speak up and speak out, you might save a life. You might help somebody that's going through stuff. It's like when your mates have got mental health, always checking on them. Because, you know, one day he might make a phone call and you're not phoning for 2 weeks and he don't answer the phone, and then you get a phone call off his mum or his sister or his brother saying he's done himself in, he couldn't handle it no more. But that one phone call could help. You know, when my mate's phone, when Tasha messages or anyone, when you message or anything, it might just be just a little simple message, but it wakes me up and think,
of course.
I have got people that love me, because a lot of the time I think to myself, nobody loves me. People love what I can do for them. But the people that I've got around me, yourself, the twins, the bass, Ant Middleton, he's a celebrity. He's forever checking up on me. Do you know what I mean? If anything, he checks up on me more than anything. Tasha's checking up on me. Tasha's mum, Tasha's uncle, Tasha's cousin, you know what I mean? And I think to myself, I'm blessed. I am blessed when I look at it like that. Do you know what I mean? But we've all got people like that. So if them people check up on you, they're the people you can open up to. And say, I'm not having the best day. I'm not having the best day. Do you know, it's like a few weeks ago, I diagnosed with diabetes. I've been diabetic for years, but then a few weeks ago I had to go on medication, and I said something to Tasha, why didn't you fucking tell me? Do you know what I mean? She said, why didn't you tell me? So now I'm on a bit of a health kick because I want to turn it down. I'm not going to lie. For 3 weeks nearly on Sunday, I wouldn't have had a fizzy drink. I just had a bit of a Lucasade because I had Guinness last night.
You felt like you needed it.
And my thing's chocolate. I'm allergic to chocolate.
I'm the same.
You know, if I have chocolate, my nose blocks up.
Yeah.
Milk, chocolate, cheese, my nose blocks up.
Stay away from my vending machine, lad.
You think I'd be on a session. Do you know what I mean? But it's just dairy. I'm not supposed to have it. But when I feel down, the only thing that lifts me up
is chocolate.
It's chocolate and cheese. And last night, you know what? I say about I've had a fizzy drink today. Last night, I was at this party in Blackpool. I had the best cheesecake ever. I was thinking, I'm in Blackpool, nobody can see me, but I can't lie, so I have to say it. Yeah, I had some cheesecake last night. It was amazing.
Even the simplest things like that can just like change your whole mood and your whole feeling. But no, when you were saying about you know, feeling low and not feeling like you've got like a support system, you know, a lot of people think that they're alone when they actually are not. There's a lot of people who care for them, and just checking in is very simple but so effective. Like I had a friend last week who was talking about suicide, taking his own life, and I spent like 2 hours on the phone with him, and then like he's in a better place now, and like he hasn't got like a massive family. He's only got his granddad left. All his other family members, apart from his kids, they're all deceased, like, so he hasn't got no immediate family. And I said, well, your good friends are family. So if you've got good friends who are there for you, that is your family, essentially.
You ever heard that saying, pride kills? A lot of people are too proud to speak up. So we need to let go of that and
drop
start
the ego.
Telling, you know, because everyone, we all got feelings, we've all got emotions. You know, we've all been through a bad stage in life. I don't care how much money you've got, how much this you've got going on. We've all had down days. Some people don't dwell on it and don't suffer as much as others, but we need to get rid of that pride. We need to talk about it. We need to, like you said, you spoke to him for two hours. I bet he's in a better place.
Yeah, well, it's saved his life essentially if he's talking about suicide, you know. Just that one phone call, that's how simple it is. That's
how we don't realise we've all got the power to help others and save lives and make a difference.
Yeah.
More people need to forget the ego, forget this, I am big, bad, and I am cool, I'm calm and all that, and you need to reach out to people. Yeah. Like I seen a thing recently with Paddy the Baddy where he talked about mental health in the Octagon that time, didn't he? And it went viral, and then he posted something recently, and someone actually attacked him on the post and started like trying to rip into him, you know, from being a Scouser or whatever. And it's just like, that just needs to be like swept under the rug kind of thing, because it's like, no matter where you're from, your identity, you know, what type of life you've lived, we're all human, aren't we? So it's kind of like... Yeah, we need to speak about it more, but obviously they're in a public figure, so it gets, the message gets out there.
Yeah, more. It's amplified,
I try and do my bit, you know. I try and do my bit. People are always messaging me and saying thanks and this and that. Thanks for being honest. Thanks for being open. Thanks for being here. Can I have your number? It's like,
Do you know what? Hey, just before we wrap it up, right? I'm talking about that because obviously I do a lot of DJing, work and events and that.
MC Edge and ones and twos.
But I had a promoter phone me and said to me, have you reached out to this DJ? And I said, why? And he said, he's gone off Instagram, he's gone off Facebook, he's not answering calls, fucking blah, 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 yeah. So I thought, I've known this kid all my life, you know what I mean? So I messaged him, didn't mess me back, and I just had this fucking weird feeling. I thought, wow, there's something fucking happened here. About half an hour later, he messaged me, saying, you're all right? I said, yeah, lad, is everything all right? He said, yeah, I'm sound, I'm just with this fucking bird, and I can't be arsed with all Facebook and that, just in case anyone messages me and, ruins my relationship and all that. I went, sound, I said, I think fucking my mate was worried about it. He went, no, sound, lad. This was on the Thursday, right? Saturday, I'm going for a walk, just fucking marching like that. And I get this fucking text, mate, saying he was going to kill himself. You know what I mean? And I went, fucking hell, my legs went to jelly. I started, I'll come up and see you. Fucking ran home. Gets my car, goes up and sees him, burst out crying in the car. He said, I'm going to kill myself, but you text me.
It's mad, it's like...
He said, when you text me, I stopped. And then I went, fucking hell, lad.
It's
and
like
he just broke down and told me all this shit. And it was like all these little things from his dad dying, all these fucking things, and lad, me fucking stopped, lad.
It's like that you was a divine intervention at that time.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's mad how things happen. Everything happens for a reason,
Lad, I swear to God, when I got this big long text, and then the words started jumbling up, my legs went to jelly, and I was like, oh my God. And then I phoned me mate, the promoter, and I said, lad, there is something wrong. There was. Because I phoned me mate back saying, lad, he's sound, he's with a bird, he's all right, fucking hell. Divvy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he weren't, lad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people kind of start avoiding people. That's what we know. We all know each other, our behaviour patterns. So if someone that's always on social media
starts
and
isolating.
always messaging on WhatsApp and sending them shit memes like I do, and they stop doing that, I think you better take that as there's going to be a problem or there's going to be some mental health involved and check in on that person. When you start when you start receiving them messages and things like that, something's not right. They might get a new girlfriend, they might get a new relationship, but just check in on them, and you don't know, that one phone call, that one message might make a difference.
Yeah, of course. Definitely. Right, on that note, Darryl, it's been boss having you on, and we're gonna do a part 2 with Paul.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? Because I think
I've only ever watched 2 podcasts in my life. One, a kid called Leighton Collymore, boxing from Oldham, and the Paul Harding one. I've not even watched anything I've been involved in. And I know a lot of people.
Yeah, I think like with you and Paul, I know the stories he's told me about you, and like obviously you told me, and I think the two of you together, I think it'll be a powerful podcast.
Yeah, we'll go have a breakfast with him before I go back to Manchester.
Defo.
Yeah.
Darryl, thanks, mate.
Boss having you on.
Thank you.
Nice one.
Thanks a lot.
Spot
Thanks
on.
for having me.
Do you know what I mean? Ping, ping! I want to inspire people to train so they can see the power of exercise and what it can do for the brain. Do you want to change your lifestyle, your outlook on life, physique, and have a laugh while doing so? I don't take myself too seriously, and I like to create a fun atmosphere in the gym. Working alongside some brilliant boxing coaches in Halewood ABC. It's about bringing the community together. In Synetico Fitness Centre, there's boxing-based fitness classes and boss PTs. We have a female-only boxing boogie with the DJ too. I've got a big mouth and a big heart. I like to speak my mind, encourage others, and help people to open up. There's a podcast coming, a documentary. I've used sport and boxing to fight my demons. It can help you fight yours.